Have you ever met someone who just doesn't get bothered? Someone who gets cut off in traffic, talked down to at work, ignored, disrespected, and yet somehow stays calm, steady, unshaken. And you wonder, how the hell do they do that? Because most people lose it over the smallest things. A rude comment, a delayed text, a bad day at the office. One tiny spark and boom, their whole mood is gone. But then there's this other type of person. They don't explode. They don't fold. They don't hand their peace to anyone. They move through life like they know something the rest of us don't. Like they're playing a different game. Here's the part nobody tells you. There is a key, a simple shift, ancient, powerful, and shockingly practical, that makes you emotionally untouchable. And once you learn it, people stop getting to you. Life stops shaking you. Let's talk about that key, starting right now. 1. The power of emotional detachment. Most people don't realize this, but the reason they get bothered so easily has very little to do with the world, and almost everything to do with the invisible attachments they carry inside. We all walk around with quiet expectations. How people should talk to us, how life should treat us, how plans should unfold, how respect should look. And every time reality fails to meet those expectations, irritation rushes in. You don't get angry because someone interrupted you. You get angry because you expected them not to. You don't feel hurt because someone didn't text back. You feel hurt because you expected your importance to match theirs. Most emotional pain is simply a collision between attachment and reality. That's why the Stoics treated detachment as a form of emotional armor. Not coldness, not apathy, but the ability to step back and create just enough space between what happens and what your mind does with it. Epictetus captured this perfectly. People are disturbed not by things, but by the views they take of them. That single idea is the doorway to becoming unbothered. Picture a thermometer and a thermostat. The thermometer reacts instantly to every temperature change. It has no control. The thermostat sets the tone. Everything around adjusts to it. Most people live like thermometers, triggered by every tone, every look, every delay, every disappointment. A Stoic becomes the thermostat, holding their center no matter what happens around them. Imagine a coworker snapping at you on a stressful morning. The average person fires back, gets defensive, escalates the situation, and absorbs energy that was never theirs to hold. Emotional detachment looks different. You notice their tone, feel the heat rising in your chest, but instead of reacting, you step back inside yourself for a second. You breathe. You watch the moment from above, almost like a camera pulling back. And suddenly, it becomes clear, this isn't about you. They're overwhelmed. They're projecting. They're drowning in their own mind. Your peace stays intact because you chose interpretation over impulse. Or consider something as simple as traffic. You're stuck on I-405 or crawling across the Brooklyn Bridge and someone cuts you off without signaling. Most people explode because they subconsciously believe the road should follow their rules. But when you detach, you stop taking the chaos personally. You accept that the world will not bend to your mood. And strangely, that acceptance brings more freedom than control ever could. The same is true online. Someone posts something rude or leaves a sarcastic comment. Many people replay it in their mind for hours, but a detached mind sees it for what it is. A stranger's noise, disconnected from your reality, your character, your life. Their words fall flat because they have no place to land inside you. Detachment is a skill, and the more you practice it, the more natural it becomes. You start by creating a small gap, one breath before reacting. Then you name the feeling instead of becoming it. I'm annoyed. I feel dismissed. I feel misunderstood. You narrate the moment quietly to yourself. This isn't an emergency. This isn't personal. This is temporary. You choose the interpretation that protects your dignity, instead of the one that hands your emotions to someone else. Ultimately, emotional detachment becomes a form of self-respect. You stop giving the world free access to your mood. You stop letting strangers rent space in your mind. You stop reacting to every accidental slight, every disrespectful moment, every unpredictable twist of life. You begin to understand that your peace is real estate, and not everyone deserves a key. And once you cultivate that distance, that quiet, disciplined space between stimulus and response, something powerful happens. The world loses its grip on you. People lose their ability to shake you. Life stops yanking you around. Because the moment you detach from expectations, you finally attach to clarity. And clarity is what makes you emotionally untouchable. 2. Mastering the Stoic dichotomy of control. If emotional detachment is the armor, then the dichotomy of control is the sword. It cuts cleanly through the noise of life, separating what truly deserves your energy from what only drains it. The day you master it is the day you stop being pushed around by every inconvenience, every opinion, every unexpected twist you can't do a thing about. The Stoics built their entire philosophy on a single idea. Some things are within your control, and some things are not. That sounds simple, almost too simple, until you realize how rarely people live by it. Most people waste half their life trying to control the uncontrollable, other people's moods, outcomes they can't guarantee, the past they can't change, the future they can't predict, and the judgments of people who barely matter. Marcus Aurelius said it with brutal clarity. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. But most people reverse it. They obsess over everything outside their mind and neglect the one thing they actually possess, their own thoughts, choices, and responses. Think about how often people say things like, "I hope they like me. I hope this works out. I hope today doesn't go wrong." Hope is beautiful, but when it becomes your strategy, it's a prison. The Stoics didn't hope, they prepared. They focused relentlessly on the part of the equation they could control, their input, not the outcome. Picture your life as two circles. The inner circle holds your thoughts, your effort, your decisions, your reactions, your integrity, your discipline. The outer circle holds everything else. Other people's attitudes, unexpected events, delays, weather, algorithms, gossip, luck. Peace comes from living inside the first circle. Suffering comes from trying to live inside the second. Let's make this real. Imagine you're at work and your boss gives you feedback you don't like. Most people panic, overthink, spiral into self-doubt, or get defensive. All of that happens because they're trying to control how they're perceived instead of controlling the quality of their work. The Stoic approach is different. Listen carefully, extract the useful part, apply it, and release the rest. You control your craft, not their interpretation. Or you're dating someone who becomes distant. Most people chase, question, replay conversations, and analyze every text. But none of that changes anything, because their feelings, their timing, their confusion, their internal world belongs to them. What you control is how you show up, how you communicate, and whether you keep your self-respect intact. Another example. A flight gets delayed 3 hours. You can complain, stew in frustration, blame the airline, curse the weather. None of it alters reality. But if you shift your energy inward, you immediately regain power. You read, you write, you rest, you think, you plan. You choose intention over irritation. This is why the dichotomy of control feels almost like a cheat code. You stop fighting battles you cannot win, and suddenly you have the energy to win the battles that matter. The truth is, most emotional chaos comes from wanting the world to behave according to your script, but the world has its own plans, and the Stoic accepts this not as defeat, but as liberation. The less you try to control, the more control you gain. Because your energy goes back to where it belongs. The shift begins with one simple question, repeated throughout your day. Is this within my control? If the answer is yes, act with full effort and integrity. If the answer is no, release it instantly. Not later, not after overthinking, not after 3 hours of stress. Instantly. That single decision creates a kind of inner sovereignty that most people never experience. Your peace is no longer held hostage by weather, moods, mistakes, delays, or opinions. You move through the world differently, grounded, slower, deliberate, uncluttered. And people notice. They feel it. They feel your steadiness because it's rare in a culture addicted to reacting. Master the dichotomy of control, and you become someone who cannot be easily shaken. Not because life gets easier, but because your mind gets disciplined. 3. Becoming emotionally untouchable through self-interpretation. If the dichotomy of control teaches you what to focus on, then self-interpretation teaches you how to focus. It's the hidden mechanism behind every emotional reaction you've ever had. The event is never the problem. The story you tell yourself about the event is. And until you master that story, anyone or anything can hijack your peace. This is why 2 people can live the same moment and one stays calm while the other crumbles. The moment didn't change. The interpretation did. You've experienced this before. Someone didn't wave back at you, and your mind instantly whispered, "Did I do something wrong?" A friend took too long to reply, and the mind said, "They don't care like I do." A co-worker spoke with a sharp tone, and your mind filled in the blank with, "They're disrespecting me." But here's the truth. Your mind creates meaning at lightning speed, long before you consciously think. And if you don't challenge those interpretations, they quietly run your emotional life. The Stoics understood this deeply. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but your estimate of it." That word, estimate, is the key. Pain doesn't come from the event. Pain comes from the meaning you choose. Picture this. You're walking into a meeting and someone barely acknowledges you. You have 2 interpretations available. 1, they're annoyed with me. 2, they're in their own world right now. The first makes you tense and insecure. The second leaves you peaceful and grounded. Same moment, 2 possible stories. One leads to chaos, the other to freedom. Or take dating, which is basically an emotional interpretation. Gym. Someone pulls away slightly. Maybe they're busy, maybe they're overwhelmed, maybe they're sorting out their own life. But most people instantly choose the most painful interpretation. I'm not enough. That's not Stoicism. That's self-punishment. A Stoic steps back and says, "I don't have enough data to judge this. Let me observe, not imagine." Here's another example. Someone cuts you off in traffic. Most people take it personally, as if the universe woke up today specifically to disrespect them. But the detached mind sees it differently. This person is in a rush. They're not thinking. It has nothing to do with me. And instantly, the anger evaporates. This is the power of self-interpretation. You get to decide what a moment means. And that decision determines whether you walk around wounded or unbothered. The shift begins with awareness. When you feel irritation rising, ask yourself, what story am I telling myself right now? That question interrupts the automatic narrative. It forces your mind into clarity instead of reaction. Then you step into the second phase. Is there a calmer, truer interpretation available? There always is. He ignored me can become he didn't notice. She disrespected me can become she's overwhelmed today. They must hate me can become they're going through something I can't see. This isn't weakness. It's wisdom. It's choosing the interpretation that preserves your dignity instead of the one that destroys your peace. Finally comes the third phase, the Stoic phase. Choose the meaning that keeps you in command. Not delusion, not fantasy, but the interpretation that is logical, less ego-driven, and rooted in what you can actually know, not what you're imagining. When you practice this consistently, something profound happens. People's moods stop dragging you around. Strangers lose the power to trigger you. Misunderstandings stop becoming emotional emergencies. Life becomes quieter on the inside, no matter how loud it gets on the outside. Because the moment you take control of your interpretation, you take control of your emotional world. And once you control that, you become nearly untouchable. Not because life stops testing you, but because your mind stops betraying you. 4. Silence as a weapon of strength. Silence has a strange power most people never learn to use. They treat silence like weakness, like surrender, like losing the argument or giving up control. But the Stoics understood something different. Silence is not the absence of power. It's the concentration of it. When used intentionally, silence becomes one of the most effective emotional tools you will ever carry. Think about how people normally react when they feel challenged. They explain, they defend, they justify, they snap back, they try to prove something. Their energy leaks everywhere, and the other person gains control without even earning it. But silence flips that dynamic instantly. It pulls your power back into your hands. It forces the other person to sit with their own behavior instead of feeding off your reaction. Imagine someone making a passive-aggressive comment in a meeting. The natural instinct is to respond, match their energy, or try to save face. But a calm, intentional silence, paired with a steady look, does something no argument can. It signals, "I'm not playing that game." It removes the fuel they're hoping for, and it forces them to confront the awkwardness they created. People expect noise. They expect defensiveness. They expect you to take the bait. Silence breaks their script. Marcus Aurelius hinted at this approach when he wrote, "The best revenge is to be unlike the person who wronged you." Silence is that principle in action. It refuses to mirror disrespect. It refuses to let someone pull you down to their emotional level. Think about relationships. Someone snaps at you. They're short, they're sharp, they're annoyed. Most people respond instantly. Frustration meeting frustration, ego meeting ego. But silence creates space. It says, without words, "I won't match that energy." It turns their emotional storm into something they have to deal with on their own instead of passing it to you. Or picture a heated argument, voices rising, tension building, the kind of moment where saying one wrong sentence could make everything worse. Silence becomes a pressure valve. It stops escalation. It quiets the ego. It allows reason to return. It shows the other person you are not their opponent, and you are not their mirror. You are the calm center they cannot shake. Silence is also powerful in moments where people try to manipulate you. When someone pressures you, guilt trips you, or corners you into a decision, the worst thing you can do is react immediately. The best thing you can do is pause, say nothing, and let the weight of the moment settle. Most manipulation loses its power when it is not met with immediate response. Silence disrupts emotional momentum. And here's something most people never consider. Silence exposes truth. When you stop talking, people reveal themselves. The insecure over-explain. The guilty justify. The arrogant escalate. The honest clarify. Silence becomes a spotlight, showing you who someone really is without you having to dig for it. But silence isn't just about others. It's about you. It gives you space to choose your reaction with intention instead of impulse. It allows your mind to filter emotion from reality. It helps you slow down long enough to ask the most powerful Stoic questions. Is this worth my energy? And what response protects my peace? And sometimes, the strongest move you can make is to simply not respond at all. Not because you don't care, not because you're running away, but because you refuse to let someone else dictate your emotional state. Silence, when used wisely, communicates three things very clearly. It says, I am in control. It says, my peace is not up for negotiation. And most importantly, it says, your behavior won't pull me out of my character. In a world obsessed with noise, attention, reactions, and constant emotional availability, choosing silence is a form of rebellion, a quiet declaration that you cannot be moved so easily. When you master silence, people lose their ability to provoke you. Drama loses its grip. Manipulators lose their leverage, and life becomes smoother, calmer, and far less draining. Because the moment you stop reacting to everything, you start controlling everything that truly matters. 5. Building inner boundaries. If silence protects your peace in the moment, boundaries protect your peace in the long run. And the truth is painful, but freeing. Most of what bothers you doesn't come from what people do. It comes from what you allow. Without clear boundaries, the world leaks into your mind, your time, your energy, your sense of self. But once your boundaries become internal, not external, the chaos around you stops penetrating you. A lot of people think boundaries are about confrontation, dramatic speeches, or tough lines drawn in the sand. But the strongest boundaries are silent, calm, and built into your behavior, not your words. They're not a wall you put up when things go wrong. They are the quiet structure you live inside every day. The Stoics believed that your inner world is your responsibility, and anything that threatens it deserves distance. Seneca wrote, "Associate with those who improve you." He didn't mean you should cut everyone off. He meant you must protect your inner space with the same seriousness you'd protect your home. Think about it. You wouldn't let strangers walk into your living room, rummage through your things, criticize your furniture, and make a mess. Yet people let strangers do that to their emotions all the time. Emotional boundaries are simply the recognition that not everyone deserves access to every part of you. Let's look at how this plays out in real life. Someone consistently talks down to you. Someone jokes at your expense. Someone drains your energy with negativity. Someone manipulates you, guilt trips you, or subtly disrespects you. Without boundaries, these behaviors slip into your mental space and sit there, shaping your mood, controlling your day. But with boundaries, something shifts. You stop absorbing what isn't yours to carry. Here's the first truth about boundaries. You don't need permission to protect your peace. You don't need to justify why something bothers you. You don't need to explain why you're distancing yourself. You don't need to argue your worth. You simply choose who gets access and at what level. This is where inner boundaries become powerful. Instead of confronting every slight, you change your availability. Instead of arguing with someone who doesn't listen, you reduce the emotional investment. Instead of trying to fix someone who refuses to grow, you step back and let them stay where they are. Boundary setting is less about telling them what they did wrong and more about quietly shifting how much space they occupy in your life. Maybe it means you stop oversharing with someone who uses your vulnerability against you. Maybe it means you limit your responses to a coworker who thrives on conflict. Maybe it means you say, "I'm not available for this conversation right now," and walk away. Maybe it means you stop trying so hard with people who show, repeatedly, that they're not trying back. The beauty of inner boundaries is that they don't require drama. They require discipline. But here's the part that most people get wrong. Boundaries aren't meant to change the other person. They're meant to protect you. When you understand this, you stop expecting people to suddenly become respectful, considerate, or self-aware. You accept who they are, and you choose how close or far you stand. Another powerful aspect of boundaries is understanding what is yours to carry and what isn't. Someone's anger, not yours. Someone's insecurity, not yours. Someone's lack of respect, empathy, or emotional maturity, not yours. Your responsibility is your reaction, your standards, and your behavior. Nothing more. When your boundaries become internal, when they live in your values rather than your voice, you become harder to manipulate, harder to drain, harder to throw off balance. People sense your strength not because you're aggressive, but because you're not easily moved. They realize they cannot push you beyond the line you've quietly drawn. And the most liberating part, you stop feeling guilty for choosing yourself. Because protecting your peace isn't selfish. It's survival. It's self-respect. It's emotional maturity. It's Stoic wisdom in action. A life without boundaries is chaos. A life with boundaries is clarity. And clarity is the birthplace of peace. When you build inner boundaries, you stop letting people dictate your emotional temperature. You stop over-explaining, over-giving, over-absorbing. You stop carrying what isn't yours, and for the first time, you feel what it's like to be anchored, steady, centered, and unbothered. 6. Emotional minimalism. Cutting the noise. Here's a truth nobody wants to face. Most people aren't overwhelmed because life is truly difficult. They're overwhelmed because their mind is drowning in noise. Too many inputs, too many opinions, too many notifications, too many comparisons, too many emotional open tabs running in the background. The result? They become hyper-reactive, easily irritated, and mentally exhausted before the day even starts. The Stoics lived with a principle that today feels almost radical. Less noise, more clarity. They believed that the mind, like a room, becomes unusable when cluttered. And most emotional problems don't come from major life disasters. They come from constant mental friction created by things that don't matter. Emotional minimalism is the art of intentionally reducing what enters your mental space so your mind can operate the way it was designed to. Calm, sharp, steady, and responsive rather than reactive. Think about a typical morning in modern life. Before a person even brushes their teeth, they've scrolled through other people's lives, absorbed 5 opinions, seen 3 arguments, compared themselves to strangers, and subconsciously adopted emotional tension from people they'll never meet. By 9 a.m., their mind is already cluttered, sensitive, overstimulated, and they don't understand why small things bother them so easily. A Stoic would never start a day like that. Not because Stoics lived in a peaceful world, but because they knew peace had to be built from within. Seneca warned about this centuries ago when he wrote, "There is nothing so ruinous to the character as sitting idly at a spectacle." He didn't have TikTok or doom scrolling in mind, but the principle is identical. Passive consumption weakens your mind, steals your focus, and makes you emotionally fragile. Emotional minimalism begins with asking a single question. What am I letting into my mind that doesn't belong there? Maybe it's the friend who complains constantly. Maybe it's the coworker who feeds off drama. Maybe it's the endless news cycle designed to keep you anxious. Maybe it's the social media feed that chips away at your confidence. Maybe it's the habit of checking your phone 100 times a day, each time giving your peace away, one notification at a time. Your mind wasn't built for that level of stimulation. No wonder small things hurt you. No wonder disrespect stings deeper. No wonder you're irritated, tense, and tired. Your mental bandwidth is already maxed out. When you cut the noise, though, everything changes. You start noticing you have more patience, more clarity, more emotional resilience. Things that used to bother you slide off more easily. Not because life got easier, but because your mind stopped being overloaded. Imagine trying to hear someone speaking to you in a quiet room versus hearing them in a crowded, chaotic subway station. Same voice, same message. But one environment allows you to process calmly, and the other forces you into survival mode. That's your mind on noise versus your mind on minimalism. Emotional minimalism isn't about escaping life. It's about escaping unnecessary emotional clutter so you can actually live it. It might look like this. You unfollow accounts that trigger insecurity. You mute group chats that drain your energy. You stop engaging with online arguments. You limit your exposure to people who thrive on chaos. You give yourself hours, yes, hours, each day without digital stimulation. You choose long-form depth over short-form noise. You protect mornings and evenings like sacred ground. The goal isn't to become cold or isolated. The goal is to reclaim your mental space so you can show up in life with strength instead of reactivity. Here's what emotional minimalism eventually creates. You stop mistaking noise for urgency. You stop reacting to every little thing. You stop letting other people's chaos become your chaos. And slowly, your mind resets to something rare today: inner quiet, a state where you can think clearly, feel deeply, and respond intelligently. Once you taste that quiet, you realize something powerful. Most of the things that bothered you were never personal. They were simply amplified by mental clutter. Clear the clutter, and suddenly the world feels lighter. Clear the clutter, and disrespect doesn't sting as much. Clear the clutter, and you stop being emotionally hijacked by things that don't deserve you. Because when your inner world becomes minimal, your emotional world becomes unshakable. 7. Becoming unshakable. Through rehearsed resilience. There's a reason some people stay calm in moments that would break others. They've rehearsed their resilience long before the moment arrived. They didn't wait for the crisis to show up. They trained for it. Just like a firefighter doesn't learn how to handle flames during the fire, a Stoic doesn't try to develop emotional strength in the middle of chaos. They build it slowly, intentionally, every single day. This is the heart of Stoic resilience: premeditation, preparation, and mental rehearsal. Not in a dramatic way, but in simple, subtle practices that turn uncertainty into something familiar instead of frightening. The modern world teaches the opposite. People expect life to be smooth. They assume everything should go according to plan. They rely on comfort as their default setting. And when something unexpected happens, they collapse. They panic. They lash out. They crumble because they never prepared their mind for discomfort. The Stoics saw this as a fatal mistake. Marcus Aurelius prepared for disrespect every morning. Epictetus prepared for insult. Seneca prepared for loss, delay, frustration, disappointment. They didn't expect the world to be kind. They expected themselves to be strong. That's the shift. Modern minds want predictable days. Stoic minds want prepared days. Rehearsed resilience begins with something simple, but extremely powerful. Negative visualization. The practice of briefly imagining things not going your way. Not to create fear, but to remove fear. You visualize a delay, an argument, a disappointment, a rude comment, a cancelled plan, and you mentally rehearse your calm response. Suddenly, the next time it happens in real life, it doesn't shock you. It feels familiar. Your mind has already seen this obstacle, already prepared for it, already built a strategy to stay grounded. This is why elite athletes visualize pressure moments, why pilots rehearse emergencies, why surgeons drill procedures repeatedly. Because when the moment comes, instinct matters more than intention. Emotional resilience works the same way. Take something simple: running late. Most people panic, speed, snap at others, lose their composure. But if you rehearse that exact moment ahead of time, the red lights, the traffic, the pressure, and you practice breathing and staying calm, the real moment no longer owns you. Or imagine someone disrespecting you. Instead of reacting with shock or anger, your mind recognizes the pattern. Ah, I've prepared for this. Instead of taking it personally, you switch into observation mode. Instead of defending yourself, you stay centered. Instead of firing back, you use silence or distance. The situation loses its power because you already claimed yours. Rehearsed resilience is also about practicing voluntary discomfort, taking cold showers, pushing through a hard workout, doing something that challenges your patience, sitting quietly with your thoughts, choosing the harder thing on purpose. Why does this matter? Because every time you willingly do something uncomfortable, you send your mind one clear message. I can handle discomfort. And the mind believes what you repeatedly prove. Soon, frustration doesn't shake you. A rude person doesn't shake you. Unexpected problems don't shake you. Life's uncertainties become something your mind is trained for, not terrified of. This daily rehearsal builds something rare, emotional familiarity. When difficulty stops feeling new, it stops overwhelming you. When obstacles stop surprising you, they stop controlling you. When you stop expecting ease, you stop being destroyed by discomfort. And that's when you become emotionally unbreakable. Not because life gets kinder, but because your mind gets stronger. Every morning, the Stoic prepares. Every evening, the Stoic reflects. Every day, the Stoic rehearses resilience in small ways, so that big storms never catch them untrained. When you start living like this, something incredible happens. You walk through life with a quiet confidence that others immediately notice. People see it in your posture, they hear it in your voice, they feel it in your presence. You become the person who doesn't shatter, who doesn't explode, who doesn't fold. The person who stays centered no matter what. Because resilience isn't luck. It's not personality. It's not genetics. It's practice. It's rehearsal. It's daily training of the mind. And once you build that training into your life, you don't just survive chaos. You move through it untouched. When you look back at everything we've covered, detachment, control, interpretation, silence, boundaries, minimalism, and rehearsed resilience, you start to see the truth. Becoming unbothered isn't an accident. It's a skill, a discipline, a way of moving through the world that protects your inner space no matter how loud life gets. Most people chase peace by trying to fix everything around them. Stoics create peace by strengthening everything within them. And once that shift happens, you become someone life can't shake, people can't trigger, and circumstances can't control. Remember this: your power doesn't come from changing the world. Your power comes from mastering your response to it. If this message spoke to you, let me know in the comments. And if you're ready to continue building an unshakable mind, subscribe, because this journey is only just beginning. Repeat after me. Nothing disturbs my peace unless I allow it.